Job at Mayo Clinic, and I've been in administration for 30 years. After 9/11, I dealt with a lot of issues regarding emergency preparedness. So we sent our folks down to help in Katrina. We just sent another group down. I understand that these aren't likely disasters, but when they happen, they're awful. You don't get a second chance. And I will tell you that Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota is not going to allow DM&E to come through the heart of that community. And why aren't we? Because it's about our patients. It's not that we're anti-ethanol or all the other stuff that's out there. We need to be sure the patients that come to Mayo Clinic are safe when they're there in our care. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Just as the railroad runs through the heart of your community, it also runs through the heart of Rochester. So I'll talk a little bit about that now if we can kill the lights. By the way, there are 5 seats up here. I know there's at least 5 folks in the back, so if you want to sit down, please feel free to come up here. There's another 6 or 7 up here, so don't do anything. I'm going to walk around because that's the only way I talk. Many of you may not have been to Rochester, Minnesota. Many of you probably have heard of Rochester, Minnesota. But this is our outpatient clinic. And Rochester's a community of about 90,000 people. We also have another 20,000 people, or patients, coming to us in our community at any one time. And they come to Mayo Clinic because we're a tertiary referral. They come from other physicians referring patients to us because they have very significant problems. You have great community facilities here, great physicians here, but there's also some things that are unique to Mayo that people come to, and we try and provide them the best care, the newest innovations, a lot of research, a lot of education. And we have 2 hospitals in Rochester that are part of Mayo Clinic. St. Mary's Hospital, almost 1,000 beds, and Rochester Methodist Hospital, another 400 beds. And we have about 1,200 physicians there, about 20,000 patients in our hospitals, in our outpatients every single day. We have 80 operating rooms. We do 200 surgical procedures at a minimum every day. If you have a derailment over here, your hospital is not that far away. We are right on top of it because DM&E runs right through here, crosses this bridge, and then heads on down. And we show this picture because this is the prevailing winds in Minnesota come out of the north. We're not knowing these lovely 70-degree days that you have here today. When I left there, we still had snow on the ground, and the wind is still out of the north. So if we have a spill in Rochester, and depending on what that cargo is, and we all talk about coal, and running 34 coal trains through Rochester is a problem, to say nothing about any of the other hazardous materials that might go through there, such as ethanol, such as anhydrous ammonia, or if DM&E decides to start shipping chlorine again. That's a problem. Mr. Sheep has made it very well known that he will make the decisions about what goes through there, what the customer demands will drive what he's shipping through there, and potentially putting our patients at risk. The issue for us in Rochester, Minnesota is we're not going to leave our patients. We're going to stay right there and take care of our patients. Those people that dealt with the hurricane in Katrina in New Orleans stayed with our patients. A lot of those patients died. And a lot of those folks working in the hospitals died. But we will not leave our patients. So if we have an anhydrous ammonia spill behind, for example, this building right here, which is a high-rise retirement center, charter house, literally just like the tracks that we have out this window right here. And that toxic cloud comes into this medical center. We're not going to be able to evacuate. Added to that is this whole complex is connected by a series of underground pedestrian subways. It's great in the winter in order to keep our patients and ourselves comfortable as we walk from building to building throughout that complex and all through downtown. But these gases are heavy gases, and they have a tendency to settle. They will go into our ventilation systems, they will get into our pedestrian subways, and they will trap people in this building. And people won't have a way out of it. These are two outpatient facilities. Methodist Hospital behind here is a clinical lab. This is our research and our education buildings that we have here. Many of these larger buildings are hotels that support the patients that come to us, all in this area. Now, Patrick talked about, and Marshall talked about, the percentage of the derailments and accidents that have occurred. And their track record is absolutely atrocious. DM&E, they've gotten $233 million already, and they've continued to have more accidents, not less. And if you say, well, continuous welder rail is going to fix all that, don't fool yourselves. Half of those accidents are unrelated to the rail. People make mistakes. They don't leave a switch open on a side. It's rail cars. There's all kinds of things that can cause this. Next slide, Patrick. This is, again, very similar, just looking at the healthcare facilities and how far they are away from the tracks. Got a power plant substation here. There's an electrical surface distribution center right here, pretty much where that arrow is. If we have a derailment there, and this railroad happens to be carrying ethanol, we will have a major, major disaster. 50% of the employment in Rochester is tied to the Mayo Clinic. So this is about not only the survival of our patients and our staff, but also the economic viability of Rochester. That's why we feel so strong about this. In St. Mary's Hospital, not far away, down the street. All of our ICUs, our intensive care units, our neurosurgical intensive care, nobody can take those patients, even if we could evacuate. The entire Twin Cities, we have more ICUs than the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul can accommodate. So we can't evacuate, and more importantly, we won't move our patients. If you look at Mayo, these again are some statistics. And you hear all this stuff about Mayo and all the international patients, and yeah, we do have some patients that are notable individuals. But understand that 80% of our patient volume comes from Minnesota and the surrounding states, including South Dakota, where we get about 5,000 patients every year from South Dakota. It's been a number that's been fairly constant. And people go by very good medical centers to come to Mayo because they think they offer something unique and different in sort of the last resort, last hope. We hope we provide that. Again, we got a lot of people coming from different countries in 60,000, but half of our patients are Medicare patients. So don't be fooled by some of the stuff that you read in the paper about we only care for the rich and the wealthy. That is bogus.